Hey everyone, welcome. I am Tim Howe, Motioneer First Class, and today we're in Rive again, and we're learning about this, how to make this cool globe that we can spin just by like dragging this little slider. Okay, to support me, check the description for some of my fonts. Consider buying one or downloading just the free one. And yeah, let's jump right in. Alright, first things first, you need a map of some kind. If I can think of a way to give you one, I will. But yeah, you could. I found these two. I found a really simple one that's probably too simple. I found this one I liked a little bit more. And it's for just white right now. In Illustrator, you can color it in if you want to. I'm just going to keep mine white for now. And it cannot take Illustrator files, and it can't take EPS files. So we need to export a SVG, or actually a save as would work just as fine as well. So yeah, I'll save a quick SVG here, just in the drop-down menu of Illustrator. If you guys can find SVGs in other ways, find those. Okay, you can also just draw this in Rive also. Okay, so I've got it going. I'll hit save here on the SVG file, and let's pop over. I'll just hit OK on this. Let's pop over to Rive. I just hit the new button and new file or whatever you call it. And I'm just going to create an artboard just based on the default settings. And let's go ahead and up here at the top left, we have hierarchy and assets. I'll hit plus and upload a file. And that file that I want to upload is what I just saved. So here and here and here. And it pops in somewhere. Now again, if you've worked with me before, let's see. So I have it here in the assets now, and now I can bring it into the world. And if you remember from previously, Illustrator is the top left corner of an Illustrator file is seen as its origin point, and so we might need to hit is it F, I believe. Nope, it's Y to freeze the transformations or whatever, and then I can reposition my anchor point here in the center, or close to the center. Put it in Africa somewhere. All right, hit Y to get out of there. All right, and there's the beginning part. Okay, now I would like to crop this thing. Excuse me. And so let's just make a world or a shape that would be my world. I'm going to come up here to the top bit and find underneath the pen tool an ellipse tool. And let's go ahead and hold shift as I draw out my world. Now, if I want to see everything, I don't even have Antarctica in here, unfortunately, for poor Antarctica. I mean, poor Antarctica. All right, but I do want to get all of Argentina, Chile in there, and all of Greenland, so I might go a little bigger than this. But yeah, you figure out what you want to do. I'm also going to hit in the top right corner these center icons to get my circle right there in the dead center. And then I'm over here in the bottom, I'm going to clip the map. So I selected the world map now. And here in the bottom corner, I'll clip the world map using the circle. Okay, now I believe if I shut off, I gotta remember now how to get rid of this so I can not see it. Okay, so now I could turn it down on the appearance area, the fills and strokes area, or I can just get rid of the fill altogether and it would be like a hollow shape. And you'll see now that I have my ability to crop my beautiful world inside of that other world. Now, if I really did want to have an image in there or some sort of fill in there, I could go through and add a different circle. I could even duplicate this, Command D or Control D to get a new one. I could bring it to the bottom, and I could over in the side here add a fill. Okay, now it's a black world or a dark world. In fact, this one has a gradient on it, which I kind of like. Okay, so yeah, do you. But let's go ahead and label these, and we will move on. So this is my globe. We'll call this one my clipping mask. And this bottom one is already called world map, so we're good to go. Okay, let's start working on our slider. And you guys can make it look however you want, but basically I need some sort of slider area below. Again, at the top right, I can hit these center things to keep it nice and centered in the screen. And let's grab a little circle to drag with, and I'm going to hold Alt as I'm drawing in the middle of this to kind of get that going. And I'll make a few designed adjustments. Looks like the size of this is height is 10. I'll go down to like 8 maybe. Maybe even 5. Okay, and this circle seems a little large to me, so let's bring this down to, I don't know, 25 and 25 over in the settings. And let's give this one a white feel, maybe matching the map. Okay, that feels like a slider to me. And then we're going to add a joystick here that's going to kind of control where in the world this thing is. So up at the top, I gotta remember where it is. I think where is it? Here it is. Underneath this lightning bolt, there's the joystick, and I can drop one of those in. And it looks like I gotta draw it out, so I'm gonna click and drag it open for us. Okay. And I'm gonna, you can kind of see, oops, you didn't see me click and drag it out, but I just clicked and dragged it, and I'm just kind of gonna put it over here to the side. Yeah, and then we're gonna kind of, again, maybe come over to, after I click on it, it's gonna let me center it. I want to see where this is placed. 250 on X, this one's also 250 on X, so this one's nice and centered. Okay, now before we set up any of the other constraints and all that stuff, let's set up our animation. So here at the top right, let's make sure we jump over to the Animate tab. And let's make a, I guess we could use the same timeline that we already have. And this will be our orbit timeline. Orbit, okay. And what do we want to orbit? The world, of course. So let's bring over the map to the side here. Kind of get this going. Okay, and you'll see when I moved, it actually auto-keyed for me, meaning this thing turned blue. And that's great news. And I'm going to go down to the end and bring it over to the other way. Now, I actually want this thing to orbit all the way around, so it comes back to Africa, or not Africa, to North and South America. So I might need to make a copy of my world globe real quick. So I will do that. I'm going to come up here to the top. I'm going to come back to my design tab, actually. Hit Command D. I'm going to put one inside of the other, so I have a world map inside of my other world map. And I'll drag this one over, kind of over this way. And then let's see how that feels. So, the land bridge. We all learned about it. It's how the Indians came over here. Let's see. So, let's come back this way. And I think I can kind of bring this back to the center. I think it was 250 to bring it back. Okay, so now I've got two maps back to back. And let's jump back to Animate and see how that affected me. Okay, it's coming across now. I just need to go a little further. So I'm going to bring it over till it kind of matches what it was in the beginning. And I'm going to kind of jump back and forth between these. In fact, let me hit play and just see if I loop it. How's it going to feel? It feels pretty seamless. Cool. So I think I did an okay job. Alright, so with animation in play, it's time to start setting up the interaction. Okay, so we can set some stuff up, but in order to get it to work, we're going to have to do some kind of workaroundy stuff. But under my joystick settings, you'll see now I have this ability to add an axis. And so what I want to have happen is when I drag on the x-axis of this joystick, meaning if I drag it right and left, it is going to animate my orbit. And I'm going to go ahead and click Draw in World Space as well. I don't know why, it just seems to help. And you'll see two of my things disappeared, and it's only controlling this. Now, it's kind of hard, right? I can drag this back and forth, but nothing seems to happen. And remember, the interaction happens when we actually hit play in Rive. So I'll hit play here, and you'll see the world did change place. Okay, I still can't drag this. But if I were to hit pause and drag it over here and hit play again, you'll see it actually is working, right? So what we need to do next is just figure out the animation or figure out the interaction that a user would need in order to get this thing to work. And so this is my interaction doodad, but it's kind of bad form to just have this tiny little dot. So let's make a bigger dot, or a bigger area, a bigger slider box, I guess, so that this is a little easier for us. So it's going to be just kind of an invisible box I create. Again, I'm going to hold Alt or Option as I draw it out. And I want all this to be clickable, so it just makes it easier to use. Looks like my size got a little weird, so let's go ahead and set this up as 60 by 60. Okay, awesome. Let's also scroll down here to the side and just get rid of the fill on it. Okay, so it's an invisible slider box, and I'll go ahead and name it that. Okay, and then let's move this down. We'll call this one the control, because this is my circle that I'm using. And let's go ahead and set a constraint for that control. We want this thing to follow my slider box. Okay, so I'll come over to my constraints, I'll hit plus, and I'll say I want this to be a translation constraint, I believe. Because all I really want is for it to basically copy exactly what the slider box is doing. So I'll go ahead and click target, and I will click that slider box. It looks like that was the wrong way to do that. Let me undo a couple times. Let's go back to my arrow. Let's go back to my control. Let's go back to that translation thing. And when I hit target, maybe I'll just select it over here on the left-hand side instead. Okay, so the slide box is connected. And yeah, I believe anywhere that this slide box goes, that's where this thing's going to go. Cool. So it just allows me for a little bit more clickability to chain it together like that. Okay, so then how do I make sure that this thing only stays in here? Well, we're also going to make another constraint. But this one I'm going to tie down a little tighter. Okay, but let's start first by coming over to the constraints. We'll add a translation constraint again. And I'll go ahead and click the settings button. And in this case, we want, let's come down a little bit here. We actually want to set some of this stuff too. So in order to make this all work, in order to figure it out, I have to kind of look at where this is in space. So and then in my case, I have my position here. If I just come up here, 70.5. I want to even that thing out to 70, let's say. Okay, so 70 is my farthest right I would want to go. And then if I were to drag this thing over, drag this slider box over, the most I'd want to get is, looks like 427. Okay, so let's go ahead and put those numbers in. So 70 and 427. So my minimum X would be 70. So I'll click the checkbox there and type in 70. And then the maximum was, what did I say, 427, I think. Okay. And that's basically saying that you can move this any which way you want, but you can't go past 425, or 427 in this case, okay? And then I also don't really want it to go off of this thing, so let's go ahead and check where my Y is. So if I come up to the top again, my Y is set at 458. Yours might say something different, but same thing here. I'm going to set both my X and Y to 458 because I don't want it to go anywhere. I want it to stay exactly where I have it constrained. I don't want it to be able to fly off. So now it's constrained up and down. It's constrained left and right on the slider. Awesome. Okay. Now let's tell the joystick to follow our little slider. Okay, so I'm going to click over here on the joystick, and it says, what is the handle source, right? And because it says optionally set it, but I have a handle that I've made, so let's set that handle source to the slide box. Okay, so now as I slide this thing, you'll see my joystick is following suit, okay? So I've made this thing, it drives the joystick drives the animation. So let's hit play now and see what we can do. So now I don't have the interaction set, but if I were to move this and hit play, you'll see it is working at least up until now, right? We just need to figure out that last little bit of interaction. All right, in order to figure out the interaction, though, we need to have a way for it to input a dragging input, like so it knows that the user is dragging something, and we need to say when it actually is dragging, and that should only be when I'm clicking and dragging it, right? That didn't need to make sense. But all we got to know is over in inputs here, let's grab one, and we're going to call it a Boolean, right? A positive, negative, and we're going to call this is dragged. Okay, so is it dragged? If it is when it's checked, and it's not when it's not. Okay, and then listener-wise, let's add something here that says up, meaning it's going to be the clicker or the mouse button is going to be up, and we'll have one here where it's down. And I feel like there might be a third one. Yeah, we need one that is dragging, I think, as well. So I'll hit one here. Let's call this dragging. Okay. So let's go ahead and set these up. When I click on up, we'll come over here to the side and we'll say up. Actually, it's the bottom here, it looks like. So I'm going to get rid of this thing that's down here. Oh, this is not working well, is it? Get rid of that one. And then over here, I want to say change input. And when up is up, I want it to fire is dragged to be true. Let's see. No, that's down. So I want it to be false. Oh man, this is way off screen here. Okay. Let's do it way back here. Okay. What I did was I zoomed out of this. I hit plus over here. I changed the input, and I want it to change is dragged to false, because what it's saying is it being dragged? Well, when it's up, when my mouse button is up, it is not being dragged. Okay. And then when it's down, I'm going to get rid of this one, add a new input change, and say is dragged is true, right? So it is being dragged because I'm clicking the button and it is moving back and forth. Okay, now let's go ahead and make sure that these are properly set. I've named them up, but they don't actually have any meaning yet. So let me set those up. If you've done what I've done, I had nothing selected when I pressed that. Now, if you had this dragger thing here, then it's no big deal. But since I didn't, I need to set up what are we even talking about? What is up? What is up and what is down? So it's basically saying when the pointer clicks this slide box, that's when these things happen. So here in the bottom corner, I have to set that target up, and over here I'll also click slide box, and when it's down, I'll also click slide box here. Okay, so now I have two options, and now I have options here in the bottom right. So what do I want? Well, when it's up, so I have to select the up listener. When it's up, I want it to be pointer up, right? Meaning unclicked. And then when it's down, I want it to be pointer down. Perfect. Okay, so that is going to fire the true-false thing, and that is what I want. So now we have to decide what happens when is dragged is true. Well, what we want to have happen when is dragged is true is that all this stuff aligns, right? Aligns to basically the mouse, right? So if I go to is dragged, and we come, let's delete this again at the bottom, change the input again. What do I want here? Align target is what I want, right? So if I'm is dragging is true, so let's set that back up. All right, so what we want is view model change. We want to set is dragged to true. So why can't I do that? Okay, so when I have is dragging selected and I've cleared out the other thing, we're going to do an input change again. And we're going to set is dragged, and we're going to set it to true. If that happens, we're going to jump over to this to align target. And what target do we want to align? We want to align the slider box. Okay, so let's go grab the slider box here. And let's just check that that worked. Align slider box and preserve the offset. Okay, so let's hit plus now. And it's not working. Now, I think one of the reasons it's working is because it thinks I want to play this animation. So let's go ahead and delete this animation here. And hit play again, and it's almost working, but it's just setting is dragged to true too often. It is trying its best to kind of align to my mouse, and it is halfway working. So let me troubleshoot this. So it looks as though is dragging, or the dragging listener has no input. Again, I wasn't selecting anything, so it doesn't know what I'm looking for. Okay, so let's go ahead and set my slider box again as the thing I want to be looking at. And it's not when the pointer enters that I want it to do, it's when the pointer drags that I want it to pay attention. Okay, so we have a dragging, we have a click up, click down, and when it's dragging, we want to align it. Okay, so let's hit play now, and when I click and drag it, you'll see it is coming along. Now it's showing up this blue thing because I have it selected over here. If I unpause, deselect, hit play again, I should now have the ability to click anywhere in that box, not just on that circle, but anywhere in that box, and it's going to align to my thing and align perfectly to my beautiful globe. So we did it, y'all. It's working, it's dragging, it's clicking, and we made ourselves a globe that spins based on my cursor. Hey, I hope you learned something. Again, consider liking and subscribing if it helped out, and we'll see you guys next time.